This is another episode of You Don't Know Wednesday. It's been a couple of months since our last episode, and if you recall, our last episode talked about us moving from Florida into a little small office space in ARP, Texas, where my grandfather, my dad's dad, had a storefront. He was a contractor. He built churches and homes. And he was somehow able to get my dad and mom to agree to leave a 3-bedroom apartment in a gated community back in Florida behind to come and live in this office building in the middle of the winter of the year 2001. Well, anyway, I told you last episode that I was in the 11th grade when we made this transition from Florida to Texas. So that means I was about 17, about to be 18. And when we got to the school, I remember the school in ARP, and there was literally 500 citizens in this city. I mean, that's the literal number. You can Google it. There may be a little more now because this is 22 years ago, but I'm sure it ain't that much more, right? And coming from Florida, where we were in school and where we lived, went to church and had a good time. I mean, Florida is a huge place. Texas is too. But the city or the town that we lived in Florida was a huge town. We lived in Pompano Beach, Florida. We went to school in went to church in Delray Beach. And then we went to school close to the Miami area. So you're talking about thousands of people in one little circumference in Florida versus a small little area with very few people now in ARP, Texas. There were a lot of things working against that move as far as I was concerned. Number one, we left a 3-bedroom apartment in a gated area, nice neighborhood, behind. And I still to this day, if I think about it, can't figure out why my parents made that decision. At least I can't figure it out in my own mind. I do understand and believe that when I look back on that time, I was about to be 18. And God in his wisdom said, I better move this family from Florida because everything that the flesh desires, Florida offers it to you. And I was only a 30-minute drive from Miami. And you know what happens in Miami. So I realize now at this point in my life that God influenced my parents, and he influenced my grandfather to influence my parents to get us to leave Florida because I was about to be at a time and an age where I'd have been in them streets and I'd have been doing some things that I perhaps would have never made it out of. So anyway, when we got to ARP and I noticed how small the school was, they introduced us that particular day to the campus. I said, oh, no. I ain't going to school here. You can forget this. I was about done with the 11th grade year and was about to go into my 12th grade year. But as a result of the school being so small, now remember, if you go back into my history and you preview some of these other presentations on You Don't Know Wednesday, you'll know that I've been up to this point to a whole bunch of different schools. We've lived in a whole bunch of different places. I had enough. At 17, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with all this moving. I'm done with all this relocating, going to different schools here in this town and having to get to know kids in this place. I was always the outcast because of it. Because we moved so much, you couldn't get yourself settled in a place long enough. All right. And so I remember when they introduced us to this new campus in ARP, I said, nah, I'm good with that. And I somehow convinced my parents to allow me to get my GED. Again, this was the end of 2000, the beginning of the year 2001. So right at 22 years ago, I was just about to turn 18. My birthday's in January on the 16th. So before my birthday hit in January, actually not before, shortly after my birthday in the year 2001, I started applying for my GED, general education degree. Okay. I skipped the 12th grade completely And I went to one of the local colleges in Tyler. I think it was TJC, Tyler Junior College, where they had a program for individuals that wanted to take the GED exam. And they would touch you up, freshen you up a little bit. And I went and I took that course for about 3 weeks. And right as the summer of 2001 rolled in, I'm 18. I'm working at Taco Bell now in Texas. You remember I've worked at Taco Bell in Florida a year or so before. And right as the summer months are coming in, I get my GED. I'm elated about this. I'm excited about this because now freedom is about to be my portion. I can get away from my family and have something to back me up, at least. Now, I didn't have a degree yet, but at least I had my general education's diploma. I could go and get a job because that's usually at least the minimum requirement, right? But I wanted to go to college. And so the summer of 2001, the same summer that I got my GED, my grandfather, who had encouraged us to move to Texas, he had affiliations with the Seventh-day Adventist Conference because he built churches for them. And at one time, he was employed as a camp ranger at one of the Seventh-day Adventist campgrounds. And what is a campground? It's simply a place where people of one denomination, one faith, come together during the summer months for camp meetings. They come together for socializing. There's a lake out there, so people go out there and they swim. Ooh. People go out there and there's canoes and mercy. All of the things that people who love maritime adventures would like to enjoy, right? Well, because he was affiliated with this campground, I remember that summer there was camp meeting. And of course, it was our habit to attend. And we went, and I found out that there was going to be an adventurers camp for the young people. I say young people, people about the ages of 13 and up. And it ran for about 2 or 3 weeks on the very same campus where camp meeting was held. And I decided at 18 I was going to stay. Well, that summer went past in such a rush. It went past, or it expired in such a hurry. When I look back on it, it's like, wow, it really did go by quickly. But while I was there during that summer, I met a young lady. I won't call her name, but her father was the youth director of the Seventh-day Adventist Conference Church. So they were well known, and they lived in the Dallas, Texas area. Now, where this campground was, it was in a little town called Athens, Texas, about 2 hours drive from Dallas. But of course, because it was a conference-wide celebration or conference-wide program, people from all over the Southwest Region Conference would come and fellowship there at this campground. And this young lady and her family were there. In fact, they held leadership positions because, again, her father and her mother worked in unison with the conference to facilitate the youth programs. So I was like, all right, cool. I got close to this young lady and found out that I had feelings for her. And the whole 2 weeks that we were there, I was chasing her. And of course, again, at this time, I'm 18. I'm still a virgin, so it wasn't like I was trying to do certain things. I just wanted affection. I wanted to get close to somebody that I felt would be willing to get close to me. That's what this young lady was. And the whole summer, she just avoided me like I was the plague. I didn't know if it was because I didn't have no game. I didn't know if it was because I was ugly. I didn't know what it was, but I thought I was cute enough. I thought maybe that, I got enough vocabulary to talk to this person and gain some interest, but she refused to entertain me at all until the last week of the camp, which was strange to me because at that point, we were all about to pack up and move on. Some of us, like her and I, we were 18, about to go to college. And so if you were interested in me at all, why don't we make this happen and make it official so that as we do go our separate ways, if we're gonna make this work, we can make it work, right? That's the way I think. I mean, I'm just that kind of person. Maybe she was afraid because her folks, they were about to pack up and leave Texas and move to Maryland. So looking back on it, she may have had a reason why she didn't want to get with me initially, but I was able to draw her in. And we talked throughout that summer after, she decided to engage me. But again, the time was short. She was about to leave. I was about to leave. I knew I was headed to college, but I didn't know where I was going to go. And so one evening on the campus of the campgrounds in Athens, Texas, I went to sleep and I had a dream. And if you want to hear about that dream, you've got to come through for the next episode.